Hello and welcome to Tipperary Coaching and Games Planning Your Juvenile Coaching Session. My name is Paddy Malone and I'm a GDA working in Tipperary GA. So today's webinar, we're going to look at the main elements involved in a juvenile coaching session. So what are the needs of my group, the role of you as a coach within a session, elements of a juvenile coaching session, what should be present in the session, types of games. So we've got two types of games, fun and skill. A sample session that we would ask coach to try on the field with their teams, give it a go, see what you think of it, and then just a final thought at the end regarding juvenile coaching as a whole, just a final thought on it. So we'll kick off with the needs of a child. So these are all the things a child needs in a session in order to develop, get better, learn more. So the first thing they need is a positive, fun environment, and we always talk about in our coaching courses, foundation coaching courses, award ones, about a positive environment for children to learn in. And we find that the more positive the environment, the happier the child is, the more a child takes in, the more a child learns. And he's not afraid to ask questions. A child won't be afraid to ask questions in a positive, fun environment. A child wants lots of games, so we touched on it there earlier on about fun games and skill games, and we'll touch on it in more detail when we get to the other slides later on. But it's an important part of a session is that it's game-based sessions, that kids are constantly active, there's not kids standing around. So it's important that our sessions go towards a more game-based session. Also, it's the purest way of finding if a skill is learned, if it's performed in a game scenario. Coaching, for you as a coach, a child needs to be coached. He needs to be told what he's doing well and maybe a couple of points he can correct. So a child craves coaching, it craves direction. So you as a coach, beware that don't be afraid to step in and give a bit of correction if you see something not being done correctly. Always approach in a nice way, and the child will learn from that and pick up on that. We know from our coaching courses and from coaching children that children learn by good pictures. So showing and seeing and doing is how they learn best. Need to feel valued. So get to know the child's name. If you see him outside the hurling field, say hello to him, talk to him, ask him a few questions. Are you looking forward to training? Are you looking forward to our next blitz? Get to know the person in front of you. Another word for that would be build rapport, which is used in a lot of our courses, one of the most important tools from a coach point of view. Your enthusiasm you come to the field with. So if you're a positive, happy coach, looking forward to training, makes a big impact on your team. If you're a coach that comes in and doesn't want to be there and sees it as a drag, that spills over into your sessions, into your team as well. It's the most important thing you're going to take from this, that the child needs to be allowed to make mistakes. The child that we're talking about here, the 6, 8s, 10s, 12s, they're in a learning phase. They're in some in a very, very early learning phase. So it's important they're allowed to make mistakes and don't have a fear of making a mistake. The only way they learn is by making mistakes, rejigging in their head, and trying to do it a little bit differently. So a bit of feedback from you as a coach, allow them to make mistakes, keep a positive environment, and you're on to a winner. The role of you as a coach in the field on a typical training session. You need to coach when you're in the field. 100% the session needs to be fun, but there needs to be coaching present. So you need to have skills laid out you want to learn, teaching points in your head, you know exactly what you're going to say, and get that point across to the children as best as you can. You need to be organized. So on your coaching WhatsApp before you go to the field, you need to talk about the structure of the session, who's taking the fun game to start, who's going to take in the skill development phase, what role is my role inside it, what skill am I taking, what fundamental movement am I taking in the session, so you can plan your session accordingly. Need to be positive, and we spoke about that in the previous slide. Recognize stage of development. Every child develops differently, so you're going to have different levels of ability in your group, and can you recognize that and assist and challenge where necessary. Give all players a chance to play. Vitally important that children get a chance to play in blitzes and matches and games going forward throughout the year. That's your role as a coach. A child will get better by playing games and playing matches and being allowed to partake in that. As I said before, the best way of knowing if skills are being learned is if they're being performed in the game. We spoke about assist and challenge. That links in brilliantly with recognized stage of development. It's know when to assist. So when a skill is too hard, or some people are finding it too hard, can I assist? Maybe it's only a small thing to spot and fix. Maybe moving a hand down the hurley or make sure the thumbs are out might be a small little fix. I want to challenge a group. When you know the skill has been learned or that game is maybe too easy for them or the drill is too easy for them, can I change it up? Have I got a progression? Can I challenge the group? Make every player feel special, get to know their name, get to know something about them, have a few words with every child at every session. And the most important thing here for you as a coach is to focus on development and not winning. This is a development environment, it's not a winning environment. You don't get any county titles or north titles or south titles or west or mid titles under 6, 8 and 10. Okay, so it's very, very important for you as a coach that you want everybody to come back into the field, enjoy their time in there, and they're learning and improving and getting better. If you want to include a few skills tests for yourself to see is it working, that's fine as well. But it's a development environment. It's not a winning environment. So the elements of a coaching session. So what must be present in your session in order for it to be categorized as a quote unquote good session? It must include coaching. So it must include you getting on the field, observing what's going on, and trying to correct kids maybe that are struggling with certain skills. Try to improve players as best you can. Okay, so progressions, assisting and challenging has to be pitched at the correct level. So we don't bring down senior hurling sessions down to under 10 group. Okay, it needs to be pitched at the right age group. It needs to be varied week to week. Can't do the same session or the same fun warm-up games at the start because they do wear on children and you start seeing a little bit more indiscipline if sessions are very, very similar all the time. A child needs to be stimulated and challenged. Have the correct coach to player ratio. This might be a new one for some of you, but the day of the coach going into the field and coaching 20 young lads is all but gone. Okay, because coaching really isn't happening there. For you as a coach, get a good team around you as best you can, or a manager, wherever it might be, and get as many good people involved over teams as you possibly can. And then divide the kids when they come into the field into smaller groups and work on a smaller player to coach ratio. Very, very important for one-to-one coaching, for spotting and fixing, for observing children and seeing what they're doing incorrect or incorrect. A very, very important tool, one of the most important tools. Your session must have a purpose. 100% we're all about having fun in your session and definitely fun games in a positive environment, but let's have a purpose here. What are we here to learn today? And let's get skills learned throughout every session. And then include lots of games, so fun games and skill games. And we're going to speak them in more detail in a second. These are the two types of games we have for juvenile players. Fun games, which are normally used in warm-ups to get children's heart rates up when they come into the field, maybe to knock out a bit of giddiness out of some children too, ready for the learning phase, which is skill development phase. Fun games, you can see them there, bulldog tag, snatch the babe. These are some of our more popular games that we would play maybe at cool camp or Easter camp or different things like that, and also we tried out with clubs as well. Some of our more popular games, you can see them online, you can see them on learning.ga.ie, they're all there to be looked at as well. Just before we move on to skill development games, learning.ga.ie is a great tool for coaches. A lot of you will have registered with the portal when you registered for one of our courses. All our courses now are registering online, and it's a great tool. You should go in there, click inside, have a look around. Session planners, everything are there for different age groups, so I'd highly recommend it. And all those games are there as well. So fun games are warm-ups. No children are out. It's about getting your heart rate up. And then the skill development side of the games is testing the skill in a game. So rob the nest, captain's ball. So can you perform the skill in a game that's designed for the skill to be performed in? So can you do it under a bit of pressure with opponents? So that's a kind of a challenge for the child, where the assisting side would be drills and one-on-one with the ball, whereas the challenge side would be the skills games. It's a sample session that we would recommend you try with a group of juveniles when you do go back to the field eventually. It's basically what we call station training. So if you had, we'll say, 24 kids and you would happen to have 4 coaches, it would be great if you had 4 coaches, and you had 6 with each coach, and you go to a station each. You'd spend 3 minutes, maybe the first 30 seconds, explaining what you're going to be doing, and a child would do the station for 2.5 minutes, and you go around that station twice. As you can see, 3 minutes by 4 is 12, 2 rounds, 24 minutes, and you're getting your fundamental work in and your skill development work in. In the skill development side, in this layout here, you would do maybe a ball for each child and then go into some kind of a game to challenge. So the assist side would be to give the child a ball each and then watch you perform the role. If, for example, maybe put a time on it, and then maybe the game could be rob the nest, the balls go in, rob a ball, bring it back to your group, and so on and so forth. But I would highly recommend you look up these games, and also any of you that want to learn more about these kind of games, we do a lot on our foundation course and Award 1 course. I'd highly recommend you, if you're not familiar with this kind of coaching, just come into a course in the near future with us and you pick up all these games there as well. What's the benefits of this? It's a lower player to coach ratio, so it allows the coach to coach like 1 to 6 or 1 to 5. It allows children to get more touch of the ball. Okay, they're not in big groups of 20 or 10 or 15. They're in smaller groups of maybe 5, 6 or 7. There's a better flow to the session. It'll go quicker for you as a coach. Okay, their session is set up, ready to go. Your responsibility is for a station and the kids will come to you. Or you could bring the kids around to each individual station. I'd be more favour of you stay at the station and the kids come to you, so you get to learn that station off by heart. And the children are more engaged. Children do not want to stay at the same thing over and over again. They want to be engaged. 3 minutes, move on. 3 minutes, move on. Gets them engaged in the session. Gets the session moving quite quickly for them, and you'll find the kids will enjoy the session a little bit more. Just a final thought around juvenile coaching session. How do we as development coaches gauge success? Well, that's a big question for you as a juvenile coach. How do I gauge success at the end of the year? Well, a couple of things that we would suggest is, if you've got players consistently coming to the field every evening, you haven't got huge drop off. You might have a couple of kids that will try it out and mightn't like it, and that's fair enough. But if you're overall, you've got low dropout, that's brilliant for you as a coach. Also, are the players when they come to the field, are they enjoying it? Are the parents giving you feedback that, oh, Johnny can't wait for training or something like that? That's brilliant to hear as well. Me personally, as a development coach, you can't win our titles, you can't win county titles. You know what I mean? No one's going to remember the under 16 that won their 3 match in a blitz in Dr. Morris Park or wherever it might have been. So for you as a coach, when you go to a blitz, maybe start looking at the skills you learned that week and seeing, well, we did the roll lift last week. How many roll lifts are we attempting in the matches? How many are we completing? And then look at the opposition. How many are they attempting? How many are they completing? And what percentage are we working off here? So if you try the roll lift and you're working off 90%, and the team you played against, or a couple of teams you played against, are working off around 60 or 70%, you go, yeah, we're doing quite well at the roll lift overall as a team. It's important that a coach takes takeaways from every day to get to go out and play. But it's important that the coaching and training balance is correct, that you are attending blitzes, you are attending matches, you are trying to get it out as much as possible. And then also when we get to the field and do a bit of coaching, that we are actually coaching, and that, remember, the blitz is a time for the child to play and for you to get information, and the training session is a time for you to coach and for the children to get information. So that concludes our webinar on juvenile coaching session. Thanks very much for listening.